the E3 trailer, like we're hitting that police station because we know that there's probably guns inside. Sure, there's some police officers that I can either kill or save, whatever.
Greg.
I'm not going to this police station because of them. I'm going to this police station because I want to raid it because
Damn, Greg!
That's just how tell me that is not how society would be in a world like that.
Damn, Greg! I wouldn't. Jesus Christ!
$10 fucking says in a game like that, you're gonna jump in, you're gonna find a fucking chest in a goddamn garbage can, and you're gonna get a gun. Right? That's just gonna fucking happen.
Welcome to episode 9 of Into the Foxhole. I'm Edwin.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Yay. And we were...
welcome back, Akash.
Oh, hey, Akash.
Yeah, Akash has been here for like 12, 18 episodes.
He was living. But it doesn't really feel like fair. All those episodes are like done in 2 days. But
thanks, man.
we were all just getting into a pretty heated discussion, discussing Destiny, about what it is, what it could be in exactly like what the fuck is it like again. Go on to what you were saying.
A lot of the stuff is really like what is like a lot of hype about this game is just the fact that what is it going to be like. We all have these like pre-notion things like is it like we were saying, is it going to be just a bigger Borderlands? Is that what people want, or is it going to be something more, something better, something greater? That's to me like a lot of the conflicts. So to me, if it's just going to be another Borderlands, I'm not sure exactly how. Cause I wasn't crazy big into Borderlands, to be completely honest with you. I wasn't that guy.
I was really into Borderlands 1. Mm-hmm. I bought Borderlands 2 and I beat it, but I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't that into it. Now, I recently just caught a deal on some of the expansions, so I purchased them on our plan because I want to now.
Right.
Because I think that their expansions have always been good, the story has always been humorous, and etc. But as far as gameplay goes, I thought that the game would be a lot better than what it actually was. And now, I don't have anything against the gameplay, but I feel like they have a lot of things in there that just don't get utilized. Like, they have all these weapons with elements and stuff, and yeah, sure, you can use them to your advantage, but for most of the game, which most people only go through for one playthrough, you don't even need to use them that way. And, you know, you have, like, all these weapons. That's the niche of the game. It's going to be like a loot war.
That's part of it, but the biggest niche that I've ever seen from Borderlands is the idea that you're playing with a whole bunch of group of people and looting together, and that's actually what Craig was like alluding to.
Fun, but you have to remember that
it's the idea that all these people there, you're all looting together. It's a drop-in thingy-majigger. That's in my opinion, the looting, the dropping in is like the biggest like thing about Borderlands. The weapons, having a lot of weapons is like almost like a secondary thing because that goes into the whole looting and you're getting a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. Like, okay, here's the thing though. When I played Borderlands 1, I felt like I was looting way more in that game. That's my issue.
Right.
When I played Borderlands 2, I wasn't like, oh shit, there's a chest over there. No, it actually didn't really happen as much. And I'm thinking like, how is that possible? How can this happen?
Right.
And like, I just wasn't really like feeling like the areas and stuff that they put in the game. And like, because when I was playing Borderlands 1, I could go through some of the same areas and like, oh yeah, there was supposed to be a chest over there. I'm gonna go for that shit right now. And when I go in there, I might find something I'd use. Borderlands 2 was like, most times I didn't find anything that I found either that useful or I just didn't care.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. That's what Destiny's going to come down to for me. Regardless of whatever the game whatever the game accomplishes, you have all these cool things that are being done, but this is the type of game where they have to be done right. And I know you can say that about any game. Like, they show that thing where you have like that player progression where you get a skill or you get a weapon, you level it up. And I'm thinking like, that's all fine and well, but are we going to balance those aspects of the game?
Yeah, bring that up.
Yeah, but like what Akash is saying, like back to the actual thing we're talking about with Destiny, is that though they've done the Borderlands thing, and though this game has the whole public event of something happening and everybody jumps in, and now it turns into this like random battle where everybody's helping you go against this one thing.
Let me just cut you off for 1 second.
Okay.
Basically, my sentiment in a nutshell is I have 1,000,001 fucking guns. I really hope to God that they all don't do the same thing close to.
No, but and they've kind of gone through on the VDocs and some of the other like forum stuff they've talked about.
Right now,
they've gone in like deep understanding to let you know that they're not doing that with the game.
I don't give a fuck what Bungie says. All right, these are the motherfuckers that made Reach, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's one thing that I know about Bungie, these guys are brilliant at marketing. Brilliant. Their VDocs are so good. Right. I still go back and watch the Reach VDoc and be like, damn, that was good.
It only.
Yeah, I'll be like, yo, this was a good-ass VDoc if only the game was this good.
Right.
And I can really tell you right now, you know, I won't hold that against them too much because it's possible that they got tired of making Halo or whatever and they want to move on to bigger and better things. That's fine. So maybe they can be passionate about Destiny and make something good. So I won't.
So you could be overhyping it. I feel I'm taking it for face value of what they're trying to offer and what they're saying is unique about this game. Like we were stating earlier before, all the stuff that's in this game is not really the first time this has ever been inside of a game.
Right.
There's been a first-person shooter before. In MMOs, you do have public events.
So they don't have the hype of the novelty working for them.
Yes, but what they do have is this all has not been done in a singular game. It's just like when me and Craig were discussing the Division.
I think that's the strongest suit.
There was nothing in the Division that you could tell me that hasn't been done before.
For sure.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it's been done in a one game by that genre. Now, this is what's getting everybody excited about the game. It's not taking anything brand new. It's taking all these things that we already know exist, putting it into a game that we're familiar with and saying it's also an RPG, it's also a big open world game, it's also a third-person shooter. Go there and have fun.
Is it a big open world game?
From what they showed the Division, it's absolutely huge.
Wait, you're talking about the Division or Destiny?
The Division.
Okay,
that's what we know.
Destiny.
But Destiny is they've already straight up. It's going to be a big open world game. Because all the planets that you're going with.
I gotta ask you.
Because
what details do you know about it? How open world it is? Like, are we talking like we're gonna reach this point? Loading
put it this
or?
way: it's as open world that it needs to have a constant internet connection. The entire game physically lies on a server.
That's fair.
So the idea of saying it can't rely on a physical disk is telling you the size and scope of it.
Yeah.
On the VDocs, they go and they.
So that being true. I think that's where a lot of the promise lies.
Yeah, and that's what I'm essentially trying to say is don't take it to, well, here Borderlands did this or these other games did this.
Well, yeah, because Borderlands is not an open world game in the sense that it's not that big.
Yeah, so
you're actually just loading into areas.
That's me, like bigger, like when it comes down to if you're saying bigger Borderlands, I'm still not sure how excited I'm gonna get. If you tell me Borderlands, except now it's like, you know, like this massive instead of like this tiny, it's like, okay, now it's just I play Borderlands longer because I have more places to go.
I look at it as it has more to do with the content that's being put into it. Because it's not like, okay, this is Borderlands 1 and then there's a sequel that follows up to it. Bungie is essentially saying that they're putting an entire generation into this one game. It is not going to be one of these things where, okay, this is 1 and then we'll wait for Destiny 2. As much as they're saying that Destiny will be a game that will just continuously get updated like an MMO. So the idea of having this large open world that has to lie on a server in order for it to be played allows you to at least feel better about going to these different planets, knowing that it's not just going to be this lifeless thing, that you're going to get features along the line that continue to do this. It's same difference with, let's say, Guild Wars or something. Guild Wars is little world thing is absolutely huge and massive. Mm-hmm. So you have that promise of, okay, all these interesting things are going to happen and all these updates will continue to happen to it. But never have you got that from a first-person shooter. And another thing that lies with this is, even though you have that buddy aspect on Borderlands, and you and I were talking about that you don't want to, you always feel like you have to plan to play these games with people. Mm-hmm. Like you're like, fuck it, I'm not just going to buy it by myself. I have to.
Honestly, I like to interject here. I think that's one of the strongest suits of those games is not actually playing with your friends. It's the ability that you have the option to play with your friends, and that's a thing. But I like the idea that when, like, say me and Edwin were playing, and Edwin's like, yo, I gotta go to work, so I'll catch you later. And I'm like, hey, I got off tomorrow. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna be playing Destiny.
Yeah,
so when Ed comes home from work, and I'm online, I'm like, yo, Ed, check out the shit I found. Yo, I got you this new gun. We gotta go use it and raid some new areas now.
Yeah, and that's 100% exactly how it's gonna work.
Yeah, that's true. That's all well and good, but that all comes down to, like we were saying with Borderlands, how much fun am I going to actually have playing this game by myself?
No,
you can say all that, like, oh yeah, you know, while he's gone I can play, but am I going to want to?
Now,
to the fact that and then wait for him to come home.
I don't think we should get too deep
into
that.
That's my biggest concern though. It's like, am I going to want to play this game by myself? Because I've always been a single player game.
I know that.
I know that. Single player game, so I'm not going to want to rely on having you two all
I've definitely knew you would address that because of the type of games that you play. This game primarily, it has essentially the entire game is single player.
Mm-hmm.
Where the whole MMO aspect lies in is that somebody can jump into your game that's also playing the game. Now, they don't even need to be someone you know. It could just be a random person that jumps into the game.
Is this game level based? Am I a specific character?
It's level based.
Oh, yeah.
It's straight level based in terms of RPG stuff. You have a whole skill tree. You have a whole set of things that you could do. So the MMO-ness lies in the scale of it. It lies in the leveling up, lies in clearly how they do the story. A lot of things lie in that. So you don't really need to play with a bunch of people to enjoy this game. Clearly, it would be fun if you had a bunch of people. You can plow through all these different areas that are in the game and feel the single player out without having to do this with extra people.
They alter difficulty though.
Yeah,
because that's what I think they're going to do.
Player scaling is a good.
Exactly.
Because I don't see them not doing that, concerning that they've made single players.
If I come in, say you bought Destiny 6 months before I did. I finally got enough money. I bought Destiny. I'm playing at the beginning of the game. Then you come in and just plow through everything for me. How much fun am I actually having at that point?
That's a hit or miss with me.
That's one of those things where I don't know how you can change that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you can't change that.
No. I don't think that a game should be I'm level 50 and you're level 1 that we should be playing together. We really
exactly.
I honestly don't believe it. There's player scaling to a limit. Mm-hmm. But what I was saying is
you can do it in MMO, but I can choose to just not have you be you can start a new character and play along with.
There's two things that'll come down to this game, and it's the conflict of how fresh the novelty of all these things being put into one game will feel versus the actual balancing of the game. Because you can easily have, and I'm not referring to Destiny, but you could easily have a shitty game, but if the game has a novelty that hasn't been done before ever, or hasn't been made popular before, then that game could still be successful. A Bungie-related example would be Halo 2. In and of itself, even though I loved the game to death, it actually wasn't that good. I mean, it was good, but it was actually really noobified. There was high aim assist. There was a ton of things that were just made so that the game would be very accessible to Xbox Live. To be Xbox Live, right?
Thanks, buddy.
That's not what it was. But the point is, because the game was one of the very first games to take advantage of Xbox Live successfully, we're talking about pre-game lobbies, matchmaking, in-game friends list, being able to send voice messages, all that stuff, being able to make clans and all that stuff. It really fully made Xbox Live it took advantage of all the features basically, and that's what made the game a giant success because people were just holy shit, I can do all this stuff with my friends, we're all gonna play, make clans and all this shit like that. And for console gamers, this was a totally new thing. And
PC gamers why are you doing this?
Yeah, gamers were
why y'all excited?
PC gamers I was voice chat. I've been on Ventrilo since right?
So I personally feel that like you said, how Halo 2 was essentially the vehicle for Xbox Live in that time period. Even though it was nothing new, it was new to the crowd that was doing it. Mm-hmm. All these things with public events and all these things with people just randomly dropping in on a game you're leveling up on is fairly new to a console space. In fact, it's fairly new to any first-person shooter space, period.
Yeah, for sure.
And to have it be done by a team that has notoriously made the greatest first-person shooters ever released on a console is a big deal in terms of having a confidence that they could do something really well with
it. It's just me, and because, like we were just saying, because I have played games with public events, I have played games that have done all these things before, that I'm so nervous that it's going to be another Borderlands. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to like it. But I mean, I do understand where you're coming from, how this is completely new to a console. This is something that console gamers have not seen before, and that console gamers will appreciate it because it's something fresh and new and cool. Because it has been done successfully in other ways, but I'm just not sure exactly how much I'm going to like it.
I put it this way. It's a game that I am backing in terms of wanting it to be well, because I truly, I know a lot of people don't see it, but I truly see a lot of potential for this to be one of the biggest new IPs for next generation. Absolutely see it. Simply because it's just, put it this way, it's just like we saw it with The Division. Though The Division wasn't doing anything new, I got that feeling when I heard what they were trying to do with Destiny. Mm-hmm. Simply because the idea of it is something that has not really been done in terms of all of this in the first person.
The reason why I like this, I'm super stoked for The Division.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm hyped as fuck.
And the E3 we're hitting that police station because we know that there's probably guns inside. Sure, there's some police officers that I can either kill or save, whatever.
Greg,
I'm not going to this police station because of them. I'm going to this police station because I want to raid it because
Damn, Greg!
That's just how that. Tell me that is not how society would be in a world like that.
Damn, bro! I wouldn't. Jesus Christ!
$10 says that a game like that, you're gonna jump in, you're gonna find a fucking chest in a goddamn garbage can, and you're gonna get a gun. Right? That's just gonna fucking happen.
No. To me, I don't think they would stoop that low. To like, oh man, I'm gonna go check in the glove compartment of this car.
That's
look at that! AK-47.
Like, I feel
like, that
person's
the police station. The police station's gonna be that dungeon.
I would leave their privacy alone. I've been mouthing the words that I wanted to Craig about.
I was just coming across all nice. I don't know, guys. I really feel I would say the police officer in the back of the class. I gotta fucking.
I would kill him.
Real shit. Okay, that's cool that like they're staging out this demo and like, hey guys, let's raid this fucking police station. All right, yeah, that's cool that happens, but that's not how it happens in real life in terms of how people play the game.
Eat a dick.
It never happens that way. It's never that staged. It's never that fun.
What if it is?
It could be, and
granted, obviously it's completely changed. Like,
but look at
it. No one comes up again. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm in my little air thing.
Exactly.
Go now. Like, no.
Okay. Look. Actually, what if this one? Me and Craig will play that way.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
I will.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I will play that game that way. I usually do take those games seriously.
Okay, then you're gonna play with us. We'll play again.
Shut the fuck up for a
I'm
second.
playing on for 5 minutes because you guys are playing. I'm gonna leave.
Now, what I'm saying is that when they do this, what's gonna like keep you going? I'm asking you guys.
Leveling the fuck up there. You can level up.
What's gonna keep me going is the same thing that keeps players going.
It's
who
an
plays
open
MMO.
world game.
Agreed.
It's okay. How many fucking MMOs fail?
That's not it. This is completely different. We're not talking about the fail rate or whether they do, or whether somebody feels like playing them or not.
That's my point. It's all about game balance to me. You can have a game like this, and it just goes back to what I was saying.
But the thing is, those MMOs don't fail because of game balance.
Well, okay, that's not true. Well, yes, it's true. No. We're getting into two different things. MMOs fail because subscriptions, all that shit like that. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're not going to get into that. That's a long conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at a different time.
We don't have to.
No, explain your point. I'm still not getting your point.
My point is that for me, in a nutshell, what it comes down to enjoying the Division, same as it comes down to enjoying Borderlands or Destiny, is that me and you are going to go into this police station and say we've already raided this police station before, but we found another fucking police station. I don't know what the fuck you do in this game, or where or what you can raid.
Right.
But what I want to see is that this game encourages difficulty and that it feels rewarding when you actually get to the end of it. Like, have you ever played Dot Hack? This is an off-topic example.
Fucking nasty ass
those
game.
Fucking games where like you don't even know how many floors the dungeon is, but when you got to the bottom of that shit and you found that chest, you're like, yeah, grunty statue, or whatever the fuck that thing was.
For sure. I mean, yes, difficulty's gonna come down to it.
Same issue with Borderlands. Oh, I opened a chest and found 5 shitty guns. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I waste my time? And no, you can't get something good every single time. I understand
that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
But there becomes a point in these games where almost everything you find is never as good as what you have, and then you just seem to lose sight of what you're actually playing for. And granted, it's all about the loot hunt. Because like I played the shit out of Diablo 2, so I can't say that I'm not unfamiliar with this topic.
Damn, girl, look at that game.
And the thing about Diablo 2 is that there were actually good drops, but there were these drops that were super rare, and you would actually redo certain parts of the game just to get it.
I got that. And let me interject there. The idea that you're not getting with the understanding of something like the Division is, unlike Destiny, and though I like Destiny, one thing they haven't showed a lot of is the collecting of other things. Now, they've talked that you could get other stuff into the game, like collecting parts for your ship, collecting stuff for your armor, collecting all this stuff.
That's cool.
Like, I still haven't even seen any ship integration. Like,
yes!
I don't even know what
There's been no ship integration. They haven't shown you
yeah, you can get
how you
your
use the
ship,
ship.
what is that doing for
exactly. Me? They haven't showed you how you upgrade the ship, when you're flying the ship.
Like, they want to, they showed the ship, drop the dude off.
Yes, and believe me, Craig, that pissed me off a lot because I was like, what the fuck? So you told me the slot's gonna be? Yeah. You go on the ship and then 2 seconds later, here you are for the drop show? You mean Mass Effect? No, but let me explain this to you first, Akash.
In the Division,
the idea that
you're right?
No, the idea
the Division
it is. And the idea that I'm trying to interject to you about this game is this is not, oh, you went there and you're looking for loot and oh, you found this gun, but it's not as good as the other gun. In this game, they showed you a shitload of skills. They showed you that you bought health, They showed you that you needed water in the fucking game. What they showed you is you need more than a damn gun. So what you're looting is not 1, 2, it's like 5, 6.
Slid under there too.
Let me say.
They slid under there that they like. They also showed that nice little PvP element that came out of freaking nowhere at the end of the Division trailer.
Yeah,
when they were trying to get out and they had that countdown and whatnot. All of a sudden, all these players started raging.
What Edwin just said. Let me tell you, what he just said is important to me. I love that shit in games, and that's something that's extremely promising to me.
Yeah, could you imagine
regardless of what I'm saying,
people raiding you? They just want to get fucking water.
Look, regardless of what I'm saying, let me make it clear. I'm just bringing up my concerns for the game.
What you doing about Destiny?
I'm still very positive.
And you too. I'm not done with you.
I'm still very positive about
it.
Yeah, that was what I'm bringing about Destiny. I'm just scared. Like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna get.
And the thing that scares me is, and mind you, like when me and Krev talk about this game, I have been the biggest freaking hype person for this game, and I have been watching everything about it. So when
you want to do a podcast, we want to talk about Star Citizen and Destiny.
Exactly, I'm getting nerded out by this shit. So, but when they tell you that space travel is going to be time consuming, that your ship is going to be a very very powerful thing, and you could collect parts to it, and this big deal of everybody when you go to this hangar area, everybody could now see your ship and all the work you've done with it. You could put the insignia of your little clan on it.
That's another big thing about MMOs and stuff like that.
Yes,
how good your character looks because of how hard you have to work.
There has to be a level of realism.
For sure. And there always has to be that classification. It's like you look at a game like WoW.
Directly intercorrelated with the fact that you have the same idea in other games that are skill based, where you we were just talking about some certain game that I won't name for obvious reasons. There's a massive skill gap, and you know what? When I kicked somebody's ass in that game, and other people were like, the problem was that you could get totally destroyed in that game, and it just wasn't accessible. And I was like, what the fuck? I played this game for 300 more hours than you have. Why wouldn't I be better than you?
Exactly. No, but the thing is, what I was gonna say is you look at a game like WoW or like any MMO in general. But I use WoW as an example because I know this actually happens. In WoW, you go to the main cities. You'll go to Stormwind. You'll wait by the auction house. You go to the auction house, you're gonna get mad lag. Why? Not just only because people are using the auction house, but people are just standing outside dressed in their nicest armor, on their best mount. I got this.
The boys showing
up playing this game. They're just standing around jumping. Because they want everybody to see that they got this fucking armor, a lot of that game, a lot of what has to do with that game, why people play this game, because they want that.
Yeah,
they want that armor, they want that gun.
And I like that because you're trying to show that, and this is something I haven't experienced.
Which is where that elitism.
Yeah,
and
I haven't experienced that.
My concern with the Division. Now, I don't have any problems with the concept of this game. I think it's fantastic. I'm gonna buy it no matter what because I want to play this game, but. What Ed was saying is that how people want to raid you for shit like water and items and crap like that. Excuse me.
Let me see your heart.
My point is, all these things need to be finally balanced to where they're difficult to obtain, to where if somebody has them, you have to want them.
No,
they can't be easy.
I get that. They've talked about that. They've talked about there are weapons in the game that are so difficult to obtain that when you finally do actually get this weapon, it's a big deal that you are a person that they'll see with this weapon is recognized that done that. If you consider that this is a game where you want to consider it like they do with Halo, if you consider that you're at a higher rank or a higher level than somebody and you get this gun that is really, really, really good, and they've always stressed this on this game about the weapons that you get. You're going to get a crap load of weapons that are crappy, but they have specific weapons that they've set out to be a big deal in the game world that when you achieve it, everybody knows you have this beast weapon that does.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm being very idealistic about it, and I know that, and I'm being nitpicky, and that's okay. But my point is that
sorry, because I'm doing the same thing about Destiny. Right?
My point is my desire for the game is to be competitive enough to warrant having its own social structure.
The game is not just that. The game has an entire online portion of the game. There is a multiplayer portion of the game. There's a multiplayer portion where you have all the same things: deathmatch, team death. There's a portion of the game that's just
like a PvP portion.
Well, pretty much. That is pretty much what is Halo already is.
I'm a lot more interested in the fact that it's open world, etc. I don't care about multiplayer.
Yeah, even me playing an MMO,
I stay the fuck away from
PvP.
Really?
I play PvP with Marcos Jonas and Marcos's brother Daniel for on Guild Wars. Jesus Christ! Some scary ass shit was going on in that bitch, bro.
I tried doing PvP on the Old Republic. I did it once, But then like
Things
I'll
happen.
tell you-
I would only ever do it if I just want experience. Like I would never actually like participate. I just go
I'll
in there and just
tell
get
you
the
what it
experience
is.
and get the fuck
I'll
out.
tell you what it is about PvP. PvP exposes the flaws in a game because people want to play to win. And when they want to play to win, they'll do anything to win. And when they'll do anything to win, they'll exploit whatever the game
They'll exploit the
lets you
brokenness of
exploit.
the games, yeah.
And when a game is not balanced, you'll eventually find a point where people are exploiting shit, and then the game devolves around this one aspect that if you don't do it, you're fucked.
Yeah, and so what Akash is pretty much trying to say is some men just want to watch the world burn. And getting out of the Division and Destiny.
You see a lot of that like, in like fighting games and shit.
Very much so.
Like they use that one move
No,
that seems to work a
the
lot.
fighting games,
Melee, running
I
gun.
respect the fighting games.
Running gun.
Because they go to great lengths to determine something before they deem it broken.
Running
Because
gun. Oh, yeah,
there's
for
a
sure.
difference between someone.
Yeah, the big difference between
There
broken
have
and
been
just really good.
There have been times
Running
where
gun.
things seemed broken,
Okay.
and then people found counter to them.
Yeah, for sure. Like I completely agree with that.
And then there's Meta.
Then there's just then there's Meta. But like even like there's just like sometimes like you look at like
And if
the,
I
the
may
new,
interject for a
the new
moment,
Injustice game, like a
even
lot of
though-
like
even
keep
though-
away and shit. Like some people's keep away, like they found out that like Cyborg, the character Cyborg in Injustice, his keep away was just so good that it was stupid. Like he was easily the best character in the game because you can't get close to him. And that was just it. Like, and then they nerfed the fuck out of him, and now it's all about Superman.
and that's actually the problem with shooters is that people bitch about one particular, like a gun or like a mechanic in the game.
Happens to every game.
And
though.
then the problem is developers are too quick to patch things because they feel that like people will leave the game if they don't
Like,
fix it.
like
But
it
the fact is,
literally
it's
just
not about
happened to StarCraft. Like people bitched about the Hellbat, and now it just got nerfed.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
No, I mean not about it being nerfed. But
I mean, yeah, it was kind of broke. It was really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was really good. But I think they nerfed it properly. I felt like what happened with it does 18 damage plus an additional 12 damage to light units, which made them kill workers like stupid quick.
I'm only listening to you because you don't play Terran.
Okay.
No, yeah, because I appreciate every race for their strength. Like to me, like I will joke and say like, oh yeah, Terran OP because I lose them a lot. Yeah, but like I understand that it's not because they're OP. It's just because every race has their strength. But right now, like Terran, they had their Hellbats that were really fucking good. But they like Blizzard, I felt nerfed it properly. Whereas now, like it had that buff to light units. Now they just made it into an upgrade. Like it does like this amount of damage, but now you can make them as good as they were. You just have to upgrade them.
Yeah,
Alright,
which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel that there's some sort of council that says we deem this nerfable, and everybody puts in some sort of
Yeah, but like
vote.
when people just like come and bitch about it, and all of a
That's
sudden
what I
things get
feel,
changed. That's when things come from. But we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we are.
We're getting incredibly off topic.
Just to move on to other things. Basically, what we're trying to say that Division's
Yeah, let's
coming
just
out.
wrap up what we're talking about.
Just for our audience, the Division is coming out rumored ending of 2014, and Destiny, to my understanding, is coming out in, I believe, either January or June of next year, or like early next year.
Yeah,
So yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
But if you consider, and I want to end on this.
So we were talking about
If you-
about Destiny in like episode like 25.
Yes.
So-
So if you consider that if you consider what they've shown they've already started marketing this game, and this game is even coming out for an entire year, you could best believe that Activision is throwing like every damn thing possible at this game.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
I mean,
but
it's still like you said, basically, it's still too early to actually say
it's too early to say because
what this game is or is not.
yes, even the things that I wanted to see, like the ship customizing or how travel actually works in this game, I've yet to see. And personally, I want to like end on this. Even if flying the ship in the game isn't what we thought it was, as in you physically could fly in the game world, but if it's somewhat like you just use it to travel between there, I'll still be okay with that, because they had the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts. Shows beast as fuck. But they had the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts. I kill you. That allowed you to travel between there. You couldn't.
Hated the gummy ship.
I didn't like this. So I loved it better in Kingdom Hearts 2. But if you think about it, if you think about it like that, where it's just used to travel in between the planets, but when you land on the planet, it does that little action sequence where it falls. I'll be okay with that if that's what it is. But of course, we want the whole seamless thing where you're going in
Did they say
between.
you can fly a ship?
Yes.
Where
Where have you been seeing it?
That's what they've been saying.
There's ship combat in your actual game.
Yeah, they said that they have it, but they actually haven't shown it
read
yet.
it, buddy. Yeah, they haven't shown it. You should have read that. What do you think I've been getting hyped for this game?
I can't believe it.
But let's move on to other things.
I may not be saying these things to make you mad.
Okay, let's move on to other things. like whatever everybody's been playing. We all know what Craig has been playing. He's been playing what's on our current Let's Play for the Foxhole Show.
BioShock We've been playing BioShock Infinite. We finally finished that game. I just have to finish editing everything together, but fuck.
Never gonna happen.
Gave me no, literally, I'll just go on like editing sprees, like that one day where I just uploaded like 15 episodes in one day. But like, yeah, but I can finish that easy. We just have this idea that we want to do first to like do something. I won't actually say what it is yet because I want to save it as a surprise. We have an idea for the actual show, which requires me not uploading too far into the series.
Okay, good.
But yeah, BioShock Infinite, amazing.
Definitely.
Amazing.
You should have played it on hard.
Amazing.
Play that game on hard.
I might.
Oh, I don't think you should. I'm kidding.
Why? It's just stupid hard?
It's not stupid hard. It's properly hard. Like, you know when you normally play games and you pick a harder difficulty and the enemies are actually just cheaper,
yeah.
Like they do more damage, etc. This is just like there's different enemy placements and
like
turrets and stuff like that.
Smarter and stuff like that.
It's just definitely like harder. Like you have to play smarter, but you're still very much so capable of killing them. Like they don't just become all of them become tanks or anything like that. But I will say the last part of the game where you beat it, right?
Yeah.
You know when you're on the command deck?
Yeah.
I won't say any spoilers.
Yeah, no.
Don't worry.
That's spoiling it for our audience.
There's a nice part there where.
And there's a point in the game where you're on a command deck, and no spoilers, of course, but you experience some very large wave-based combat as you normally do in these types of games, and you have to make use of certain resources that you have. Now, on hard, this is fucking hard.
Spoiled.
Yeah.
It literally took me, like, I'm good at shooters. Like, I'm, like, popping headshots off, like, left and right. This shit was fucking hard. Like, you really have to get the exact pattern down of the enemies perfectly because there's certain things that you have to do and certain things you have to avoid. And you actually have to, like, old school, like, memorize, like, I'm going to do this, and then this is going to appear, and then I'm going to do this.
God,
and I have to
I'm getting tears just thinking about that moment.
I actually had to think
about
what vigors I was using because like normally when you're playing the game, like if you're playing on normal, especially, you're just like, what flavor of vigor do I want?
Which is exactly what I was doing in the Let's Play. Like, I think I'll try this one.
Well, on hard it's a different story. Like, which vigor do I need to use right now?
Right.
And so basically, it came down to that, and I actually had to use the undertow vigor to actually throw these rocket guys off of the Zeppelin that we were on because they'll just destroy your shit.
Right.
And like when you're playing on hard, you can literally do two shotgun clips to the back of the Patriots and they don't die.
True that. Awesome.
Insanely hard.
That's crazy.
So I don't even want to picture this shit on 1999 or whatever the hell it was called.
But
the 1999
mode. I plan to play, but I do not plan to play it on hard mode. BioShock has always been like a once. I'm not playing on hard. BioShock is always like a once over type game with me. Adam played the first BioShock on the hardest mode, and that man was giving a fuck. He was beating.
Yeah, that's Adam though. Adam
but yeah, that's him. But I'm playing this for once over.
Take my word for it. Play hard. It's not like obscenely hard where you're just going to be retrying parts and not being able to experience the story. It's a decent difficulty. Now, 1999 mode, that's a different story.
Yeah, like, no, I agree with Evan. Like, I like playing BioShock for the story experience.
The gameplay stuff is good, but I've never...
Hard was just hard enough to warrant you having to think about how you play, but not hard enough to where you're just being frustrated and constantly repeating parts. Definitely not the case. Unless you're just doing really stupid shit like running into the middle of like 20 guys.
Hey, you watch
Which I did do that.
You're watching my Let's Play.
Dude, I'm sorry, dude. I was watching that and I was just like, Craig, if you don't fucking shoot that guy, I swear to God. What are you? Like, you were standing on the balcony when the cult was there. I'm like, what are you doing? This part is a tutorial to throw that fireball into the crowd. They're asking you to do it. And you're just like, oh, this is nice. They're having a social gathering.
You're right.
Somebody and then like everything happened. I'm just like, oh god.
And then Julio finally said, he's like, I think you should be using your vigors more. I'm like, thank you, Julio.
Yeah, that's what Julio's job is for.
Yeah.
Julio's job is to remind you to use vigors. Don't forget to remind me to use vigors.
Exactly. So I guess what do you
guys play? We'll just wrap up. Play BioShock Infinite. Go out, buy it because it's an amazing game. If you don't, for some reason, you don't want to go buy it, watch it on this channel.
He did it.
Because I finished it. I will try to finish uploading it like very soon.
Or you can buy a used copy while you can. I'm joking.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can now. Which we'll get into later. But Evan, what are you playing?
I have been playing a lot of games. I've been playing Persona 3, Bioshock. Not Bioshock. I like.
Yeah, finish that fucking game.
Yes, I do. I've been playing Persona 3. I've been playing Animal Crossing as like a new game. Love it. I can't. And I have been.
That's a vomit on this mic.
And I've been playing LA Noire. I've been playing those 3 games. And still
another game I need to play.
Good ass game. Still leveling up on Persona 3, and I was continuing off of like my game. I have like 40 something hours on there. We're leveling up still. Actually, I have 40 hours. I'm like 30 hours on there.
I've been playing a lot of the Old Republic. So I got a friend to come back and play with me, so I was like, okay, cool.
And then Greg's like, now we have to keep playing Old Republic.
There we go. I like playing the Old Republic. I like playing I don't play the Old Republic like I play other MMOs. I play the Old Republic for the story because the story is actually really stupid good.
Okay, that's good then.
It just takes a long time to go through because it's still an MMO.
That's still good because you still got like that long ass narrative to give a fuck about playing.
That's the only reason why I'm really playing this game because it's free to play and the story is just really good.
Okay, well,
anyway, keep going what you're saying.
Good, that's good. But I'm playing a lot of Persona, fusing a lot of shit, going up them places, bro.
As you should.
So
working your way up that tower and jump.
I am. I'm working my way up the tower and up the literal social ladder of the store as well.
I'm working up the literal tower plus the figurative tower of the social ladder.
Thank you.
But I'm about to score day.
He did.
Exactly.
That girl was looking
They
like.
have these things in Japan.
That girl, that ass. Oh my god, no, bro. I'm continuing off for Persona 3. I'm still, all the story starts. All I've been doing is grinding, so there's not really much high points. Like it's an RPG. It's fuck you guys want to say. But I'm grinding. LA Noire.
Shit.
LA Noire. I'm still playing LA Noire. I did a couple of missions on it. I'm actually trying to finish it up because I want to play finish off Red Dead Redemption. But the game that I've been spending like the massive chunk of my time playing last month. Almost all of last month and like a chunk of like this last couple of days I've been playing Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS. Awesome.
Well, you done?
In terms of Animal Crossing games, it's Get Out. It's absolutely great. Absolutely great. Absolutely awesome.
Are you done?
Things are happening in there.
Oh my god.
You're building stuff.
I feel like
houses, Animal Crossing, you're finishing. Yay! Never.
Someone says the word Animal Crossing one more time, I just might vomit.
I can't you. I love Animal Crossing.
Oh my god. Well, I guess we'll segue into what I've been playing if you're done.
I am not done. Unless it's Animal Crossing. You're gonna have to wait. Animal Crossing is, of course, good as always. But Animal Crossing a bit worried me when it first came out. I mean, when they're first like talking about making a new one, worried me. Considering for the last couple of Animal Crossing they've released, I've pretty much done ports to Animal Crossing 1. And like, here's one new feature: you just go in this little area, and all the other people that visit your town are now in the city.
Yeah, I've just never gotten the appeal.
Disgusting.
I've never
But
the appeal behind it.
I love the appeal behind Animal Crossing. Honestly, is essentially around the same appeal that you would get from something like The Sims. It is pretty much a simulation of like an everyday thing that you're doing.
Yeah,
it's
but like to me, like that game always just seems about like, oh man, I want to catch that bug because it's the bug. Whereas like The Sims, it's like I can like actually simulate things that like I can put my friends in here and be like, oh yeah.
No, I think Animal Crossing is a little bit different than The Sims because The Sims is more like relative to what a real world is.
That's the point I was saying.
Animal Crossing is very simplistic and it's like, yeah, that's right.
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. It's like
I just don't understand it.
For anybody that doesn't really know what Animal Crossing is or how it works in terms of the game itself, you essentially get a character and you're in this little town. And this little character that you put you inside this town is filled with all these other animal characters that have their own houses.
And you get this one shitty cocksucker skeeves you into getting a fucking house or some shit. Usually that's the deal.
Pretty much.
And then you're like, you're in debt for like the rest of your fucking life.
So pretty much, get out. So pretty much you got you after you start off and you move into this new town. On the new game, essentially instead of just being a regular person, you're now the mayor of the town. So you come to the town, you're elected mayor through some broken ass rules. You're elected mayor randomly. So so you're basically
in town. You seem different. You should become mayor. You're not based off an animal.
Pretty much.
You should be the mayor.
I think you should be a mayor because the last animal that was a mayor. Wow. Well, Tortimer did. He did his best. All right, he did his best, but. You essentially play a little person, and the way that the game works is it all plays in real time. So basically, if it's 7 o'clock right now, it is 7 o'clock in Animal Crossing. So when you go and you play your game, it is going to basically change based on the time you're playing the game. So now that you have a home in the game, you have to pay off this home with bells. Now, let's say you got a tree and you have a whole bunch of fruits inside of your town. When you shake any of these trees, you could then sell these fruits clearly to pay off your house. So you could make it bigger and you could have more rooms to align for more stuff. They'll put stuff in. Now you could go and buy stuff at the stores that are in the game that you could essentially put inside your home. But the stores are open at certain hours. As of right now, like our store would be almost closed. So you would have it. Let's say if you were playing the game today and you decided to say, you know what, I'm going to go buy something for my home. If you was 11, 10 o'clock, you could not play it.
Crying right now because their mom didn't let them turn on their 3DS. Like, but mom, what's up?
Pretty much, she's like, that shit about to close, bitch.
So they went to some family gathering. They weren't allowed to bring their DS. Like, well, we have to get home now. It's gonna close in 10 minutes.
We're about to close material. Bitch. No.
You can say bye to your grandma later. Let's go now.
But a lot of that game, just like the first Animal Crossing.
Buying 3DS is because you can take it with you to family gatherings.
Hey, exactly. No, but this was back in the day.
Like, no,
exactly.
You spend time with your family.
And before, when the first Animal Crossing came out, that was the issue.
I swear to God, I actually used to, whenever I had to go to my family's house, I used to actually bring my PS4 bag and shit.
Oh yeah. Like whenever I went to my grandma's house, like I was only allowed to sometimes. My mom was in the proper mood. Like, oh yeah, you can bring the PS2, it's fine. And then me and my cousins just be in the room playing PlayStation.
And you're right to. But
only on my grandmother's TV because that's the only one I could hook up to. And the TV had a stupid little the twisty thing that
don't even go there.
No, I'm saying that's how my grandma's house was. I'm sorry.
And you're like, is this twisting right? No. And it turns out you were tightening it. No.
She had plastic all over her furniture too.
She used to.
Oh fuck.
She got new couches now, but
she wasn't about that.
Hey yo, don't make fun of my grandma.
But to deviate from the PlayStation 2 and Greg's grandmother, and her getting a knife. Yeah, but and then one for yourself. No, but
nobody knows that one.
No, but they shan't. But with Animal Crossing, a lot of it goes to you're playing with a lot of people, or let's say because I'm playing with Jason right now, I'm playing with Brett. All three of us played the first Animal Crossing all the way in 2002 when this game first came out. When we played that game, all of us had the whole social thing of playing this game, and I think Andrew played that game too. So all of us had the social thing of we're all collecting things, but because all of our stores have something different, we all get different things going on in the game that allow us to share it with each other. This game being a portable game allows us to all kind of do it in the same room at the same time versus before of going back and swapping memory cards. So it has this whole social thing of all of us are all showing the stuff that we got and showing the stuff that we traded. Some of the stuff is so rare in the game that when you come across it, it might take you a good year before you actually really come across that same stuff. So it's like when somebody has something that, let's say a drum set, like I have a drum set, I'll trade that drum set to Jason. Because he probably won't get a drum set. He might get a drum set. That could be next year.
Oh that's my God. And it came for full circle. I want that to be like that in the Division.
I hear you.
Maybe. I'm not even kidding. That's what
I agree. No,
Craig was like,
that's what game's worth playing.
Yeah, if Craig was like, yo, I found this beast-ass shotgun. You probably won't find it within...
no, hell no.
The reason why... let me give you the shotgun.
And I'll be like...
The reason why that won't work that way, and I kind of get what you mean, but the reason that won't work that way is that that's not how the Division plays. Animal Crossing is a whole time-based... it all goes in real time.
I'm not saying so that makes exactly sense. Like that, but I'm saying there should be that sense of like...
I get you.
And that's even more off topic. That's precisely why Diablo 3 sucks, because there's the fucking auction house. Yeah. Nobody even had to search for their own shit or trade. They just bought the shit from there.
I get what you mean in terms of the idea of something being really, really rare that somebody would want,
or moderately rare, or
moderately is the only thing you could sort of guarantee.
No,
something like
semi-rare. It should be all semi-rare, moderately rare, super rare.
But something like you could not expect a game to just have a whole bunch of super rare stuff that nobody ever is going to get through the game. It's one of these things where that's very difficult to do in a game like what they're trying to make. You would have to make literally of the differences of stuff. You know how Oblivion has a shitload of stuff, or in Skyrim, you would essentially have to say, well, there's one weapon for all this shit. And it have an entire world the size of that to fill all these things and make them as random as that is.
It's complicated. You just say only these certain chests can drop an item that has like a 1% chance of dropping. How is that hard?
Motherfucker, who the fuck is gonna be doing all that shit? You know,
How many people do that? Have you ever played Diablo 2? It got to the point where people were getting bots to do runs for them, to do meth runs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like they got all this shit, so they want to get robbed.
That's the whole emphasis behind Monster Hunter. You want to make that fucking thing's armor? There's one piece you need from that for that armor that you have to kill this monster. It has a 5% drop rate.
Did you ever stop to think, God damn it, I just want to play the Division for fucking fun?
No!
Stop to think, I just want to play the
That to me is fun. You can still have fun. Why should you have to own everything?
No, no, I agree because that's a lot. Why a lot of people play MMOs in general. Like they'll do the same thing over and over.
It's like that secret loot rare.
It's about the chase. That's what loot hunting is for.
I know my brother. There was this one specific mount in World of Warcraft that he was hunting for forever. Like you had to do this daily quest. It was like this whole string of quests.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the one with like the little fucking kid on the bridge and shit.
Oh no, there was that. Okay, but then, like later on in the actual series, like there was like he had to do this whole string of quests. Once he got to the string of quests, it gave him an egg, and then in that egg might hatch the proper color of this specific mount that only certain people got. So my brother was trying for
He's going too far with this shit.
My brother was trying for months to get this specific mount just because only certain people had it and he wanted it.
And
when you got it though, my brother was just like, oh, and like I said, he was outside that auction house flying his shit around, showing everybody that he worked for it and that he had to get it. Like it was such a low percentage chance. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Like once you actually got it was hard to actually get the egg, but once you got the egg, you had to hope that the proper thing happened.
I get how those happen in MMOs, but in a game like the Division, it's something where it's like it would be really complicated how such a thing would work like that because how the game.
No, it's not.
I didn't work exactly the same way.
I mean in terms of questing, how would that work in terms of the Division?
When he's saying it's different, I'm not saying you do a complicated string of quests. I'm just saying that certain weapons you make like a type thing, right? And say this weapon is really rare. It only has a certain percentage of dropping, and then what you do is for that weapon, there are variable stats. They do these in all loot hunting games, where you have this weapon, but you have the best version of this weapon, where it has the most maxed out stats possible. Now you could get the same type of weapon, like you know how Borderlands that has like specific weapons, like blah blah. It's like
it's the same that, but it's like a different.
And then it's like your TK's wave is
accuracies.
It has like 190 damage, and mine is like the most rarest drop version possible, where it has the most maxed out stats. Like this one has 250 compared to your 190.
It could definitely be done.
And that's how it is. Now you can play this game and never see this weapon, and you can still enjoy this game. Why should you be entitled to own every single fucking thing in the game? Mm-hmm. And that's the same mentality that causes other games to be annoyingly stupid and boring and dumb, because it's like, oh yeah, I just play this
game. Pay-to-win games.
Because like it's like in the olden days where you had like games that were like notoriously hard. It's like you didn't even know if you were gonna beat this shit in your life or not, mm-hmm. And maybe that's not necessarily good, and it's not now it's not practical, because like now games like these days, it's not a question of whether you're gonna beat them. It's a question of when you're gonna beat them.
Yeah, you're gonna beat them.
And that's okay. I understand that millions of dollars go into these games, and it's like it's really stupid that a player will never see the ending cutscene of a game or something. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But when it's a game that's strictly meant to be for social interactions and online multiplayer, you can definitely do it. Because you're not it's not taking away from the experience.
Especially for a game.
Most people that play aren't
even more so for a game like Destiny. Like we were just saying, how they're trying to make it last this entire generation, like you were saying. So you'd want to have stuff like that. You'd want to have things that took very long for you to get.
But that game, it could make sense on how that would actually work.
Right,
because that game's actually showed that they do that.
Yeah, like
Destiny
Borderlands had weapons like that.
Division hasn't shown.
They were called the pearlescent weapons, and they were dropped from chests, and they would have a very small rate of dropping, and you could only get them against the like maxed out level enemies and etc. And that was pretty much what you hunted for once you were already like the max level and shit. I mean, what else do you have to do in the fucking game?
Mm-hmm. So like,
there's always going to be a point in like those type of games where it's like, oh, what else do I have to do?
Yeah, and
having weapons like that, it pushes the longevity of it.
Yeah, and that's the strong point of online games. Games, that's a strong point, because technically it's an always changing world. So you should always be having more stuff to hunt for, and etc. And the best thing about it,
you always want to be perfect. As soon as something comes out and you're not perfect anymore, you got to go hunt for it. When things change, that's how MMOs last.
When games change, patches come through, different weapons become useless, whereas the prior useless ones become more useful now. Yeah. And that's what makes meta for games, because things are always changing, and that's kind of why yeah.
You got
the matchup of the game. Snobby ass term.
Meta.
So like,
But,
so you were playing the Division? Is that what you're trying to tell everybody? Is that what you've been playing right now?
Yeah.
But,
Division.
anyways, glad you liked Animal Crossing. And Kaj, what are you playing?
I've been jumping through the Metal Gear Solid
Sure he hasn't been playing
series.
Division?
I've been playing MGS1. I'm on MGS2. I already beat 1. I'm going to play 3, and then I'm going to play 4. And then I'm going to be like, these
I
games
did
are
it
good.
again.
And I've also been playing Minecraft a lot.
Oh, really?
I've been, every time I go to the store, I've been eyeing Fire Emblem, The Awakening, and Animal Crossing. I
And you're
want to
right.
buy that fucking game.
And you're right too. It's a good game.
The Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblems
Like-
for GameCube and Wii were actually really good.
Craig, I said another title in that.
What?
I said I've also been eyeing Animal Crossing.
So what you wanna do?
I'm not even joking.
Well, you see, that's what happens. My mind just like specifically just blanks it out after a while.
It's fine.
Like,
It's a good
like
game.
literally, I heard
good
Fire
game.
Emblem, then I
It's a
heard
good
a long continuous.
That
That
was
was just it.
Have
I've
you
been playing a little bit of Hotline Miami here and there, and I've been doing a let's play of
Oh, yeah, I think you're supposed to do
of
that.
Legend of Mana,
Sorry.
www.youtube.com/adaptsnake.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
I don't know what that is.
Don't worry about it.
You don't need to know what it is.
You don't need to
It's
know.
only for the elite.
I'm like,
Exactly.
I don't know what that is. No, I know what the game was. I
Yeah,
don't know what that site was.
www.youtube.com/adeptsnake.
Yeah!
Check that out as well
There you go.
as this channel and www.youtube.com/sons/.
We'll drop a link.
Or I think that's like the full title, right?
Yeah.
All right,
But
fuck
I'm
it.
not sure if you abbreviate anything.
We'll just instead of listening to that,
But don't especially watch that Fox.
and you guys just you look down and then
Yeah, man.
we don't want you guys to listen to this trying to type at the same time. So just look down
chill
at
that
the
shit.
link.
Chill that shit. Wait for this video to finish, then search for that stuff.
Yeah, replay this and make sure you write it down.
Don't want your internet connection to slow for any reason and not listen to the rest of this
Agreed.
podcast.
And we're not dropping any links
Moving on.
for nobody, niggas.
Moving
If
on.
you, no link is being dropped for shit. You're gonna find that shit on your own.
We're gonna talk about MGS5.
You bitch, nigga. Oh no, well we could, but I wanted to drop on a little bit some of the current events.
I
In
think
terms
that
of
we've already discussed MGS5.
It good.
I
honestly don't think.
I'll say we
anything
could.
to say about that game.
I think we could, but we probably should talk about like GTA 5.
Yeah,
I'd rather talk about GTA 5.
We could
I
talk
got
about
nothing to
MGS5.
say about MGS5 that isn't gonna be
Yeah, basically. I'll be like,
fucking horses and
There's a lot to
They're gonna be
cover.
horses. They're gonna be jeeps.
And then
There's a lot.
where there was the guy, and then you went on the side of the horse,
We're gonna be like,
There's a lot to
and
get.
he dove in that cover that one time.
Stop! I can't. There's a lot to get hyped from that.
Yeah.
We should talk about that after we talk about
I feel
GTA
like
5. Considering that GTA 5 is like a current event. Get out. But well, we should definitely talk about GTA 5 because that
GTA 5,
trailer dropped yesterday.
That's not
This game also dropped.
Um,
Birds. I shit myself.
My pants got full of
why don't you guys,
feces.
why don't you guys go ahead and give me a quick overview because I still haven't seen the trailer. Hey, at least I don't play Animal Crossing.
At least I watched the trailer. Like,
At least I don't play Animal
I
Crossing.
tagged you
I
in it.
play both of them.
I know I saw it, but like I was thinking.
What's wrong with you? I mean, I'll play fucking any damn
Yeah, I
game.
think I was
I'll
working
play
and I
that
came
shit.
home and I was watching some show and then.
Yeah, I think we need to fucking pause this shit and watch that
I
trailer.
think we need it right now. Then we need to have
There's
it.
no way we can discuss this without you
Slow
watching
down.
it.
I think we need to have an intervention. No, but or you could play the trailer right now if you want. We could just talk about what happened in it.
I think play the trailer. It's 5 minutes. Let's
Yeah, we
go.
just
We
pause.
don't need it. We don't even. Well, I mean,
Just
We don't need to mention like.
if you feel just if it makes sense.
You want to do it?
Come out and be like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Fucking do it.
If it makes the next,
recording.
if it makes this next segment go by fast, that's fine. And we'll be back a little bit short
End the
information,
recording, Craig.
and then we will come back and we will welcome you guys to GTA 5. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, hey, welcome back. Now that Craig's got to welcome himself to GTA 5 and everything that stands for, he had to unload his pants from all the feces that erupted out of him. How do you feel about it?
I feel empty. You know, due to all the poop.
Yeah.
Super stoked because that trailer was.
That wasn't even like. It wasn't even like one of those trailers that
Hype
pieced together.
fest.
Yeah, it's like
Thank
it's
you.
one of those like
Hype fest.
It was more like it was. I almost feel like I was just at like a press conference and someone was just like, hey, listen, this is what this game's gonna entail. Just like,
they
thank you
did,
for that.
like you see so many trailers in this industry where they're all focused on the cinematography of the trailer and how well they can like present it to you. But this trailer was literally
how many explosions they can fit in 2.5 minutes.
It was literally the trailer was literally just saying like, yo, this is GTA 5. This is what you can do.
No, like in GTA 5, you're gonna be able to do this.
This is about.
And it was just like.
This is
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I can buy
stocks. Which is what I like. Because I hate trailers that just like show me things. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm just like,
what's going on?
And
thank you. I don't really hate those. There's some of those that like do it poorly. Like for example, the first Gears of War, and I would say to a smaller extent the second Gears of War, they marketed that game really, really well. Without having to show all the stuff, they marketed it well. With this game, because Grand Theft Auto was...
that game's popular in general.
Yes. With this game being much more...
it's popular because it's a good multiplayer.
An older IP. Okay. With this game being much more of an established IP and everybody already knowing GTA, this trailer was more informative than almost any other GTA trailer has ever done. And I 100% put it on because these features were lacking in GTA 4. So it's like all the hype that seemed to came behind this game is really amazing happened to all come from GTA 4 wasn't.
It's just like, man, now this is it. This is our next gen GTA.
Yes, this is our first next gen GTA. In my opinion, this is how it is. Only because, okay, let's say people are okay with these features missing. The fact that you could market their new game and say, hey, look, you could buy houses in the game, you could ride bikes in the game, you could essentially do all these other, you could swim in the game. The fact that you're telling us you could do things that you could already do in in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and everybody's already hyped, is telling you how desperately wanted these features were. People are getting hyped from features that were already in San Andreas.
Yeah.
Put it this way. Let's say GTA 4 never existed. It never happened. Let's say this is the first GTA to release next-gen systems. How does this trailer make you hype when really this is more of the same what happened in San Andreas? So it tells you that just a sequel to it of minor progression was enough to say, sold. Just give us that with the same features.
Give us San Andreas, but bigger, and we're okay.
Yes,
and prettier.
Yes, and I've always been okay with that type of progression. That's natural progression, in my opinion, for a game to go there, bigger, add more features, especially a game like GTA. You could only really add on to this series.
That's actually the problem, in my opinion, with most series, that they try to drastically change each iteration. I'm thinking like, why do you think I bought this shit to begin with? Don't listen to what people have to say. People say, oh, it's the same thing, but these are the same dumbasses that'll buy the game anyway, so don't listen to them.
Very true.
Point is, if you have a tried and true formula and you build something good, you build on top of that. You don't take away stuff and try to reinvent the wheel. Don't do it.
That's to be able to make a new fucking IP.
Agreed, and I don't even think that was as much as their issue.
Resident Evil.
Thank you. We should kill Capcom right now.
No. Shut the fuck up. We're not getting into
That's what Resident Evil did, though.
Pretty much. True, but even with me not liking what happened with GTA 4, I still agree that Rockstar did the best they could under the limitations that they were under to make a game like they were making. If you consider they're making it on one DVD or an equivalent to a single DVD, that's still, I mean, it's still good. It's still pretty good if you consider that they've just made two games using around the same amount of space, and people could still consider that even remotely a sequel. Right. It's still a big deal. Like this game, just to let everybody know about why it's the way it is now.
Is that it's install?
Yes, there's an install to this game on 360.
Yes,
so there's
you're not gonna fucking tell me that shit.
We know that's not on one DVD.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Hell no, that'd be like a fucking box set right there.
Right.
More discipline than the fucking. That's probably more discipline on 360 for that game than the fucking Full House box set.
Yeah, and I'm pretty positive from what they're saying. It's going to be a 20 gig install. So they're pretty much saying like,
that's like some Xbox 360 hard drives in general.
Yeah, so they're kind of saying like, look, this is GTA, and the way you have to play it is you have to go out to make these decisions to play it. They're not going to make what they did with GTA 4 for this game because of that.
They have the power to do that.
Yeah, and they do, and I'm happy that that's being done now.
Grand Theft Auto in itself has the power to do that. Not necessarily Rockstar. Grand Theft Auto as a franchise has the power to do that.
So I'm happy that decision is being made now. I wish it could have been done with 4. But a lot of the nuances that I'm seeing from this series that they did show, of course, with the stock market now being added into the game, so you could now make money off of stocks in there. all cheats aside, the money has always been important in GTA for allowing you to fund these type of things that you do in the game. But if you're adding in cheats and you just throw that shit out the window,
I really feel that was a weak point in GTA 4. I didn't really feel like you needed money.
No, because there was what was the point? There was nothing to there was nothing to aspire to.
Yeah.
Like when you're just buying ammo for your gun. The biggest problem I have is you could buy so much for so little amount of money that you might be set for a chunk of the game just by buying a little bit of stuff. You don't have the money to say, well, I could buy a property because there is no properties to purchase. Right. So you don't have the ability to say, well, I have extra save spaces because of this. You don't have the ability to say, well, okay, I'm going to buy all these other stuff too. Because there's not that much to buy, it puts you in a position where you just throw that out the window now. The biggest thing you can buy in a GTA game is a house. So being able to buy a house is not just, okay, it's just yours. No, it means that if I'm in a big open world game, I could save anywhere I feel like it. I have a house over there. I'm going to save it there. Or cars. If you want to have your car in a garage, that way if it blows up, you could go back and have your sexy car in the garage. You could say, I have so many houses, you sexy ass car. I have so many houses, and I want to be able to put a specific car in that house. And at any point in time, I feel like, you know what? I feel like going to the hood and busting out the Bentley. Then you could do that. But if you feel like saying, you know what, I feel like going to the hills and busting out the Rolls Royce, then you can do that too. That type of accessibility, pretty much. But that accessibility isn't just to catering to those gamers that want to play it realistically. It also caters to the gamer that's playing the game as the game itself. Let's say you did a mission, and this mission had to do in the forest. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, you had to bring a guy there, and you had to kill him. So now that you just brought this guy here, now that you just killed him, you're like, you know what? Oh, look what time it is. It's really late. I need to get to work. I need to go to sleep. I need to get to work. Whatever you need to do. You don't feel like having to drive half of the game length just to go to a fucking spot to save. But what you do want to do is say, you know what? I do have a house in the country that I bought. I remembered. I'll drive over there, save my game, and go to sleep. Because of how massive San Andreas was, that was a must. I had to have like 3 or 4 homes in each city, so that way I felt comfortable. I could save anywhere, regardless of what mission I just finished doing. That's the power that you have, and that's that feeling that you feel you could do anything. That's the feeling that's now being invoked into this game again. And I like that they pushed it further and just said, well, you could just have real estate again. Okay, well, you could go into the stock market and then trade. Yeah. So that's
a big thing.
And trading it, really cool. And the most unique thing about this, which makes it so cool, is that all these brands that exist in Grand Theft Auto that have always existed have almost been meaningless, like the ammunition place or all the clothes places. All these places have actually existed in almost every single Grand Theft Auto. All these fake businesses all exist. But now you could actually buy those businesses just like you could in Vice City to an extent. You can now buy them in this game and trade them. So that's really awesome, seeing that even that you now have this revenue stream that you could get a shitload of money from that also acts into aiding you to do more stuff with this game. So I'm really excited.
One thing that they can take advantage of in this game is that, you know, we're moving to this point to where like this is going to be the second GTA with an online mode. And I won't get into that because that's not really what I'm focused on for my GTA experience. But free mode was the shit for me in GTA 4, and I think that because there is a free mode, people don't have to feel the necessity that they want to fuck around in the open world aspect of their single player game. They want to mess around, shoot up shit, blow shit up, they can go into free mode. Well, I think that you can get a more controlled experience in the single player experience now because of this, because I felt like in GTA 4, it's like it wasn't really that hard to get a hold of guns, and it's like, yeah, you can buy guns from like Little Jacob or whatever, but like you never really felt like you were making an investment when you bought a gun, and you never really felt like, oh, I've got this gun, I better hold on to it, I better not like die and like lose it or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the cheaper weapons should be cheap, but when you got a really nice assault rifle, I think that it should cost you money, and that you should be able to. You know, the game would want to drive you like, oh, I need to find a way to make money so that I can afford this assault rifle. Because and then I want to play smart so I can keep this shit.
And you could also, another thing that you could also do is you could also upgrade specific areas with these guns in terms of accuracy, or in terms of putting on a scope, or in terms of all these other magazine clips. So they kind of go more deeper into that customization with something that everybody's kind of wanted them to already do, and now they're kind of going deeper in that to allow you to play the style you might.
That's how you get immersed in the game. That's how you get interested in the game. Because like, if I feel like, oh, I died, let me just go buy another AR.
Right. Like another thing.
No, if I had, just one second. If I had like spent like, all right, say I only have $2,000, and I like that's harder than $2,000 doing missions and shit like that, and I don't have a revenue stream because I didn't make it big yet in the game. Now, if I'm gonna be like, yo, I already, bought like this gun for like $1,000 because it's a nice assault rifle, it's way stronger than anything else I can afford, like a cheap pistol, and then I spent the $500 for the scope, and then another $500 for like a stock or something like that. I don't know, whatever you would put on this gun. That gun is like now yours. Like, yeah, it's my baby. I just spent like $2,000 on this thing. I'm not gonna die. Anybody comes to try and fuck me up, I'm gonna fuck them up. I'm not losing this shit.
Right. You're gonna play much more cautious.
So that when you go into a mission, you actually feel like, all right, this is dangerous, but I live a dangerous lifestyle. I gotta do
it's reliable.
To blame at that point, like to go further into that point, especially since they reintroduced like we were talking during the trailer how they reintroduced like the whole stat portion of the game, like almost bringing about like this little RPG element. It almost makes it like Grand Theft Auto 5 is like the gangster simulator. Yeah. It's like you're getting inside this world and you're making money, pulling all these heists, doing all these crazy things, setting up your own heists and things like that. And then, like Akash just said, what do gangsters spend their money on? They had that sick ass gun that's just there.
We prefer to call them tools of the trade.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, of course. Like they buy that sick ass gun and they'll put behind the little glass case like, this is my baby. No one touches this gun. You don't fucking touch this gun. You understand?
What if you had this gun for a long time and like you made it big with that gun?
I was even thinking to myself, like, could you imagine like you like purchase certain guns and you like maybe like buy that really nice home that has like an option to have this, so like you can like put all your things on display inside of your house.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty badass. It was a cool idea I had. I don't care if they ever implemented it in the game, but it's a cool idea. Like, can you imagine like what you were saying? Like, say I had made that assault rifle and that was my trusty AR. I'd bring it out in the most important missions that I felt like would be the most dangerous, right?
You get that
I eventually make it big, right? I've got this house. I'm like, time to retire you, baby. I'm gonna put you up on the wall. You help me out.
And then you go and you look at it and it like shows like every stat.
That's like
you killed this many people with this gun.
That's
on this many.
You know they're gonna Rockstar. You know they're gonna do that. And
that is Old Faithful.
The reason why you know they're gonna do that,
like you can name it and shit into like have like a nice little plaque.
Is Rockstar on all the GTA games, and I wouldn't be surprised. I've never checked this on Red Dead, but I'm almost more than positive they have this on Red Dead Redemption. This whole stat thing, they go stat horny on you. They will tell you how many hours you spent running, how many hours you spent in the water, how many hours you spent with this weapon in this car. They always do that.
They even had that to an extent in GTA 4.
All those things are so superfluous, but at the same time, when you go back, you look at it, you're like, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I
like you look at it, it's like you don't really care about it, but when you see it, you're like, huh? That's an interesting fact.
I give a fuck. I always love looking at my stats in GTA, but I love looking at my stats in GTA deep into the game, and I always love looking at to say
after I beat the game, I'm like, how many people have I killed?
Yeah,
killed a lot of fucking people.
It's fun because you get to kind of see how did your body count like.
It's not
you get to see how many people you ran over.
That's a basic stat. You want to like go for the more interesting stats, like how many times I've escaped a 5-star wanted rating or something.
Yeah, those are interesting too.
Those are cool too. Like all those stats, like to me, those stats are like they're not really necessary, but they're always cool to look at. Having it in there doesn't hurt.
Over a long period of time, these stats actually are very telling about how you play the game. And you know what, we won't go into this. I promise I won't rant on it, but that's how it was in MGO. I look at my stats in that game.
He's getting a knife, Greg. He's getting a knife. Gosh, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. He's getting a knife. But I love what they're doing with the stats, but just to get away from just the actual, general stats of what you've done, I like the idea that there is the RPG-ness back into the game finally, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're not giving you buff bodies if you work out, we're not giving you fat bodies if you eat a lot, but because I've heard that they can't do that. One of the things that they stated was what the renderware engine they use for those GTA games, they could do that. With the newer engine, they're like, it's almost impossible to do something like that because of all the layers of physics and all the stuff that are added to the game. To have someone's body morph and changes is too much for them to actually do.
I'm actually okay with that. I'm not really.
I'm okay.
I don't need my character to get fat.
I'm okay with it if they understand it's something they can't do. I'm completely fine with that. But
as long as that stat affects me in some way, it doesn't need to affect my appearance.
Yes, and the
as long as it affects the actual gameplay.
Yes. And the idea that you have, they're bringing back the whole stats of lung capacity, of running capacity, of strength, of all these things, of stamina, all these things play into the game. It will play, even the bike race that they were showing you, this is all going to play into, if you do this a lot, if you condition yourself a lot, when you're running from the police, you might be able to run farther and longer.
You think about it, you get to those portions of the game where like, maybe you needed to run away, like, your car just blew up. And you're in the middle of nowhere. You actually have to run.
I was actually just about to say that. Like, it's like you had a moment like, you boys spent 3 hours running around Los Santos yesterday. Got in a chase, ran away from
it. Because even when you're like say like you haven't done it in a long ass time, so then you go, you have like you get into that situation like I said, you know, your car exploded in the middle of the forest. Now you actually have to run somewhere. You start running, and all of a sudden you can't start slowing down. You're like, shit, maybe I should go work out. Like, you know, things like that actually like happen to come up, and it makes you like want to get more into the game, makes you like actually want to do these things.
Yeah.
Like, but then man, I actually sort of kind of need that. But I mean, yeah, it might get annoying the fact that my character's slowing down. Well, that's your freaking fault. You should have been working out, you bitch.
Yeah, so that's actually, there's also a depressing side of this where it's like spends 1 hour. I can see the memes now. Like spends 1 hour working out in a video game, not in real life.
Yes.
Yeah, that one for the Sims.
That GTA 5. That GTA 5 meme.
I love that they're bringing, and even though we're all talking about some of these, a lot of us are talking about some of the old features, and those are really, and it tells you just how important those features were in the last game. That should have been in the last game. Excuse me, because it's like if these are things we're getting hype about now, we're just getting hype about playing them in a newer game.
I mean, granted,
like that was something that I sorely missed in Grand Theft Auto.
Like all that stuff is really cool, and I'm really excited about that. But to me, what makes me really excited about this game is the whole. I'm pretty sure I said this during our E3 thing. If we ever talk, I'm not even sure if we talked about GTA on the actual podcast. But when we were talking about GTA 5 during E3 time, I was talking about the whole 3 characters being introduced inside the story and how you're controlling all 3 of them at the same time. The type of storytelling you can get with that, I'm
unique.
Super stoked. I'm really excited seeing these 3 different characters coming from 3 very distinct portions of like the crime world. And having them come together and interact in this way could be. I'm really excited about this story.
And the one thing
that's something I've never actually been too keen on.
Yeah,
Like
it's actually
a Grand Theft Auto game.
The archetype is like one guy, family man, getting back into the business.
Yep.
One guy too smart for the ghetto. Mm-hmm. Another guy, he's just like trailer trash.
Trailer trash dude. Like stuffing feet down toilets.
Yeah, but I like the whole guy
that messy dirt, almost like the like how in Kane and Lynch.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's like you have the one classy business guy.
Yeah, Kane and Lynch, and then the black guy.
The weird psychopath. I can't.
That's what it is. What is it? Kane and Lynch and the black guy.
It's like you got Kane and Lynch, he got CJ, and then some black guy. Like we thought CJ was a black guy. Okay, whatever, some other black guy. But I like the whole dynamic with that. But one of the biggest things I want to know is how random is that going to be? Was that just a scene where it's just okay, was this something where they've set up a number of random scenes where if you click on it, you'll see these things happen? Because even though we know they're trying to present something to us to market this game to us, of course, none of us are looking at it as being marketed as, well, this is exactly going to happen when I play the game. As if I'm exactly going to go to the father and son, and they're going to say that exact line, and they're just always conversating with each other. So I feel like, okay, maybe they do these things, but let's say they only have specific things that you're going to hear them say when you just launch into their thing. So let's say they did their bike ride, and let's say in between their bike ride you launch into them. They might say the same generic thing when they're riding a bike, like, man, this is really giving me a burn, fat ass. So they might say something really stupid in between there.
Stop making fun of me.
Yeah, they could have something like that. And then when you switch back to them, you could have them doing something completely different that kind of follows what happened afterwards. But it's like, how many of these daily activities do you think they're going to have enough time and room to put in? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that they could really realistically have this whole thing set up where they do all these random things and just say random things in between doing it, and you could just go down and put together everything that was happening in your mind, what they're saying. Or they could have it where maybe this was just a scene that they did to show as an example of this is how it works.
Still love to be seen.
Yes, but this is not. It's not going to be something expected every single time. The only realistic thing I've seen thus far was when you saw the one black dude, when you saw his character walking out of that shop, or when you saw the guy getting chased by the police. Those two things, I understand. Those are realistic things that could happen. Mm-hmm. You could have any NPC buy something. You could have any NPC start a chase or start a shootout. Mm-hmm. But what they're doing with this whole bike ride, coming back and conversating with each other, is one of those things where it's like, I don't know if this is just like a fluff thing that you guys put in here just to be like, hey, look at how interesting that will be, but how expected is this going to be in the game? Am I always going to see this? So that's the only thing that I've took away from it. That I'm a big question about how that's going to work.
It can work because what you have to think is like the way these characters are interacting with each other. they obviously has to be at a certain point in the story, you know. So I mean, it might be like triggered maybe by like, if you're at this point of the story, you might see this scene once, whereas now every time after that, they're gonna be doing something generic, like walking out of a shop or being in a police thing, you know.
Especially if based on time of day.
Yeah, but like going to like after like this big ass mission where like he like the rich guy got into an argument with his wife.
Yeah, I mean,
flash in there and they have a show a scene like that argument got a little bit more.
I think you can only expect
maybe,
so
like,
much.
ignoring each other.
Yes. I hope that I like the way you put it, because that's how I'm thinking I want it to be.
You can only expect so much, because like, you know, eventually after a while it's gonna be like, oh look, Crazy Earl's getting chased by the police again.
I get
that's one of the things that got made fun of the most. It's one of the things that got made fun of the most in GTA 4, because they did this a little bit in that game where you had your phone and people would call you up and fucking Roman's like, hey guys, I want to go bowling, and like every goddamn like
racist.
But like,
that's what it fucking
I can definitely see it getting annoying. Like, maybe I need to use the one dude. He needs to go on a certain mission, so I switch to him. But now I gotta fucking escape the police because this bastard by himself decided to get caught. He was like, shit, I just wanted to do this thing, you know, but now I can't because I have to escape the police first.
Yeah, that's why you wait. You watch him and you wait till he gets away, and then you're
like, oops, no.
But I like what you were stating about the whole, okay, he could be having an argument with his wife. If such a situation arises, I don't want such a weird one to happen where it's nighttime in the game, even though, well, they do have time on the game in terms of what you see. So let's say it's midnight in the game, it's really late at night in the game, and you randomly select them, here they are talking and they're yelling outside or some weird shit like that.
It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, like he's in his business suit.
Yes, I agree. And let's say something like that, that's what it's going to be like, you're going to get that, okay, fuck these people down here at this time. Yeah. So, I mean, they could change it in some respect by saying, at these certain hours, I'll be wearing something else. Because even when he was doing the bike ride thing, he was wearing something that would make sense to be wearing in a bike ride. Right. So could we go at midnight and he's riding his pajamas, you know, in a bike and saying, man, what a good bike ride we had. So I get how weird that may become if that's the way we think the system is going to go. Like, so if it's as complex as the
remains to be seen.
Yes, it is. It's one of these things where we have to like, maybe we're thinking too much into this.
Yeah,
they showed us.
Honestly,
it might have been done for
that
consent.
That really doesn't matter to me, like, because that's like one of those supplementary features. I don't think that's like gonna break the game.
I'm a kid.
It's not, but I like the gameplay portion of it. But as far as like the storytelling aspect of it, it's gonna be kind of wonky.
GTA.
We're talking about day moments. We're not talking about major plot.
I know, but even if the thing is,
those moments
with each of these moments, you're still portraying, you're still developing your character in these moments. So having those awkward moments kind of does take away from the overall experience.
GTA's characters, I felt, always progressed and always showed themselves off the most in between these scenes. It's almost like you have cutscenes with them, but everything else around, even with the side, the cutscenes make this character almost more than those cutscenes make that character. So it's like, I don't want to be broken out of that. I played a lot of GTA games where I've exceeded 100 hours in those games and did all the missions, and even doing all the missions will take you probably 60, 70 hours to do every mission in the game. So when you get past all these hours of doing all these missions, you still have to take away, well, more than half that game wasn't just audio dialogue. There's a chunk of it where I was just by myself with this character, and he displayed this type of attitude or displayed this type of character. Even if it was just that one scene of him arguing with his wife, that's still something I want to be 100% fully engaged in. But GTA 5 coming out September 17th. Everybody's giving a fuck. Everybody's giving a fuck. Everybody's playing it.
Over.
And that would wrap up our episode of episode 9. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Edwin.
I'm Akash.
This is Craig.
And that has been our show. You make sure you go online, check out the Let's Play, and we're going to have a link to all that fanciness. And you make sure you go online to check out Akash's Let's Play at Sons of Thunder / and
Be a Death Snake.
And you're going to see a link right at the bottom.
So we're the ones advertising the channel.
Akash, you fucking bitch.
Your boy runs this shit.